Welcome to John S.'s Sports Channel, where we're going to do the predictions today for Saturday's games, and it's week 32, although for a lot of teams, or most of them, it's week 31. Should be week 32 though. So we're going to go into Saturday's games, and we're going to go straight with Cambridge versus Exeter. Now, obviously, we have to look at the Exeter game. Forest 2-2 draw for Exeter, and that's going to take a lot of energy out of those legs for Exeter. Plus, there was a red card there, so Ed turns out, and you're thinking, well, this could be quite a tough task for Exeter. They've got to get those players back on after that really quite tough game on Tuesday. They're playing a Cambridge side who have drawn, won, lost, drawn, lost. The draws weren't too bad. I mean, the Wycombe draw 1-1, they played really, really well. Cambridge can and have played some really great football. Mansfield 3-2 win. There are wins in this side of Cambridge, and they're quite capable of now getting out of that bottom zone if they really wanted to. The problem is they got a little bit stuck at the beginning of the year, and they really played quite abysmally. And when Rotherham won there, we realised that we were playing abysmal. They were just playing a little bit more abysmal. But now they're playing quite good, and they have an ability to win other teams around them. And I'm thinking, with the legs a little bit tired from Exeter, I'm going to think that Cambridge have the upper hand here. What are you all saying? 2-1, 2-1, 1-1, 1-0. I'm going to go with Cambridge 2, Exeter 1. And we'll go on to the next game, which is Northampton versus Wrexham. So, Northampton versus Wrexham. Now, this is a little bit more difficult than what you think. Believe me, you look at these two sides. Northampton's last two games, Mansfield win 1-0, Huddersfield win 3-2. They're just sneaking it by the odd goal. Okay, they lost against Bolton 3-1. However, Wycombe 0-0. They managed to staunchly defend really, really well in that game. In fact, they really should have won it in the last few minutes. It's one of those teams that just get the odd win when you don't believe they can. And they're at home, but they're against a Wrexham side that just seems to have had the jitters over the last few games. Now, okay, you're going to tell me that they won 3 games in a row. Crawley 2-1, and then Port Vale 4-1, both away, and then at home Bolton 1-0. But they haven't won. I mean, certainly the Crawley and the Bolton games, they were by the odd goal, and they didn't really look that in control of the game. Yes, they looked in control of the game against Port Vale, but it's Port Vale and it's the Virtue Trophy. Not many people are really thinking that as any more than a Mickey Mouse Trophy. So we can take that one out, which means that on the whole, in League One, Wrexham have been a little bit jittery. They've shown that they can actually be beaten, or at least be pegged back to a draw. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Wrexham have a little bit of an issue at the minute. They just seem to be letting a few goals in. And I'm a little bit worried that a side like Northampton that can actually defend really staunchly against those top teams, like we've seen, the Huddersfield 3-2 win. We start thinking, and the Wycombe 0-0 especially, I start thinking that Northampton could do this. What are you all saying? It's Northampton Wrexham 1-2, 0-2, 1-1, 1-1. I'm going to go with one of those. I'm going to go Northampton 1, Wrexham 1, and we'll go on to two of my local sides, Barnsley versus Huddersfield. Now, normally we'd be looking at Barnsley, Huddersfield and thinking, wow, 2 teams in the top 6, and they're really fighting for to keep that promotion place alive, aren't they? But it's Barnsley in 10th and Huddersfield in 6th, and both of them have been pretty poor over the last few games. What have we seen for the last 6 for Barnsley? Win, lose, draw, lose. Even the draw was 0-0, and it was against Burton Albion. Huddersfield Town win, draw, lose, 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 draw, and the last time out was a draw against Reading, and the side seems to be pretty depleted if we're to believe the news articles on Reading. So we're thinking both sides on the downer here. I could actually go for a 0-0 if I wanted to, but where are you lot thinking? 2-2, 1-1, 1-1, and I think you're absolutely right. I can't see. It could be a complete clean sheet from what we've seen here. The scoring seems to be a bit poor. The defence of both teams seems to be a little bit better for Huddersfield, I would say. However, only marginally. I just think that it's going to be a pretty dull game, this one, where neither team want to lose it, really don't, and they're going to peg back and hopefully get a goal that will give them the winner. Pegging back in a game like this when both are doing the same thing could give you a really poor 0-0 bore draw. I'm not going to go for that. What are you saying? 2-2, 1-1, 1-1. I'm going to go with Barnsley 1, Huddersfield 1, and we'll go on to Blackpool versus Mansfield Town. Blackpool versus Mansfield Town, and normally I'd be thinking my one to watch, Mansfield, would be the one to walk away with this, even with that improved Blackpool side, which seems to have changed with the change of manager. And I'm thinking, they're not doing too badly. They played pretty poorly against Rotherham in the last game, 0-0 against Rotherham, and realistically, Rotherham were pretty much rubbish. And Blackpool weren't that much better, to be honest. I think that Rotherham slightly edged it in the second half. First half was extremely poor for both of them. I think that Blackpool need to see a light and they need to see a change. Mansfield, on the other hand, out of their last 6 games, 6 defeats. Wycombe, Cambridge, Crawley, Shrewsbury, Northampton, Orient. Okay, the only one I can really... there's 2 there you can understand. Orient, who are on a real flyer, aren't they? The Orient Express is on the move. Wycombe Wanderers, yeah, you can see why they lose against Wycombe Wanderers. But the others, they should be getting points from the others, and they don't seem to be able to turn this one around. So with Mansfield with key players out, lots of them, and Blackpool not playing very well, I really can't see where anything's coming from. If you look at the scoring, it just doesn't seem to be happening for either of them. The odd goal here and there, but Blackpool do seem to be able to score more at home, 1 or 2 perhaps instead of none or 1. I sort of edging Blackpool on this one. However, I think that Mansfield have the ability to that camaraderie to be able to pull this one back somehow. I just can't see them, getting into the doldrums all the way through. There's going to be something that a manager should and could be able to do to turn this team around. So, what are you all saying? You're saying it's Blackpool Mansfield 1-0, 3-1, 1-0, and 0-0. I'm going to go for that sneaky outsider. I'm probably going to go against most of you. I'm going to go Blackpool 0, Mansfield 0, and we're going to go on from Roy's team, and we're going to go on to welcome Roy. You'll be watching this. Bristol Rovers versus Burton. Let's see a tale of 2 opposites here. Blackpool nicked a draw in extra time, didn't they, against Burton Albion last time out. Bristol Rovers nicked a draw, wasn't it? I think and Bristol Rovers nicked a draw against Stockport the last time out. So completely the opposite way round. However, for Burton Albion and Bristol Rovers, what have we got? Bristol Rovers. Well, you can't count the Ipswich game. That's the FA Cup. Win, lose, lose, win, draw is what I've got here for the last 5. They've been pretty up and down, and they have been doing that old trick of playing really well one week and then playing pretty poorly the next. They are at home, and okay, they've had the last 2 games at home as well. Home against Peterborough, win. Home against Stockport County, win. They're now at home against Burton Albion. They have got a little bit of an improvement at home. They are playing slightly better at home. I think that this home train, and a lot of people are saying that Bristol Rovers are just that bit better and a bit improved when they're playing at home. When they play away, they do tend to be a little bit hit and miss. Burton Albion, on the other hand, they had a really good spell, and actually out of the last 6 games, they've not lost any of them. Draw, win, draw. And the last time out, the Blackpool one, they really should have won it. 90 plus 3 minutes, I think the Blackpool managed to get an equaliser in, and they should have won that one realistically. And I'm thinking, we could see a really tough game here, because it's going to be to a Burton Albion team that's doing really well in 23rd position, and a Bristol Rovers team that we know can do well at home and isn't actually doing that badly. They really haven't been, and I've been enjoying watching them. So, and they're in 19th. So Bristol Rovers versus Burton. What are you saying? 3-3, 2-1, 2-2, 2-1. I'm going to go with Mercy. I'm going to go with Bristol Rovers 2, Burton 1. And we'll move on to Crawley Town versus Wycombe. So Crawley got a red card last weekend, and Wycombe got a red card 2 weeks ago. We've got to watch these, and we've got to watch the fact that players are going to be a little bit tentative once they start getting red cards. The referees do seem to just have their eyes come across to them. I've seen that myself while watching football, especially in League One. Crawley Town, again, very up and down, aren't they? It depends when in the game they have that 35, 40 minutes worth of excellent football. If it's at the beginning, I've seen that they're more likely to draw the game by allowing the team in the second half, whereas or win it if the team that they're playing doesn't take advantage of it. Whereas if they have their impressive run in the second half, they may already be down. So it depends how well the opposition have managed to score, if at all. So it can be a bit swings and roundabouts where that block of good play is, can't it? Draw, lose, win against Mansfield. Lose, win against Stevenage. And I'm thinking that this is one of those games that that could certainly be. It's at home. Could they throw a wobbler in against Wycombe? I think they could. They have been up and down, but they are playing at home. Can they get that block at the right point in the game? They're playing a Wycombe side. They've just had a little bit of a poor run. Win, draw, win, draw. The win against Barnsley 2-1, pretty impressive, and I think they just about deserved that. And then you've got a draw against Cambridge 1-1 and a draw against Preston in the FA Cup 0-0, which was actually pretty impressive. And of course, Preston went through 4-2 on penalties. I really find this quite difficult, and people are going to be thinking, why do you find it difficult? Because it's obviously Wycombe going to win this one. I'm sort of 50-50 on whether Wycombe are going to absolutely flatten Crawley or whether it's going to be a sort of quite tight game because Crawley will come out fighting, get a couple of goals, and then sit back on them and hope that Wycombe don't score more than 2. What are you saying? 0-1 to Wycombe, 2-4, 1-1, 2-2. I'm going to say I am actually going to choose one of my decisions there, one of my choices, and it's going to be Crawley 0, Wycombe Wanderers 4. And we'll move on quickly to Leyton Orient versus Lincoln. Now here we've got two teams with differing form, haven't we? Because we've got Orient, who are on the up. The Orient Express is trundling along very nicely. And we've got Lincoln City, who did trundle very nicely until of late, and they seem to have dropped back down. Orient in 7th and Lincoln in 12th. What do we think here? Well, if we thought the 2-1 defeat by Manchester City really hurt Orient, they've come straight back out and proved us wrong by beating Mansfield 3-0. And it was quite concisive. It was in the first half. I was actually watching at half time thinking this could actually be 5 or 6-0, couldn't it? However, Mansfield managed to pull the curtains shut at the back and managed to just about hold on there. Obviously, lots and lots of injuries in the Mansfield side, and you could tell that they just didn't have that firepower up front or the feed from midfield. So Lincoln City, they've been, like I say, consistently on the downward trend. They had a little bit of a upward blip in the last 6 games. We've had 2 wins, lose, win, lose, draw. The 2 wins were against Northampton and Peterborough. Peterborough, more notedly, 5-1 win at home. Northampton away, 1-0. Now, Northampton have been playing really well of late, so that was actually a good 1-0 win. So they can pull it out of the bag, and it's really strange how they just don't seem to be playing well constantly. Sorry, off for a sneeze then. We've got Orient, lose, win, lose, win. They are still on the up, just sort of petering at a nice level now. I think they've found their level. Their points per game level, and they're just hitting it quite nicely. And then they don't seem to be up and down either, which is pretty good. Lincoln City, lose, win, lose, draw. They still seem to be finding it a little bit difficult to score goals. We have to take out the 5-1 win against Peterborough, don't we? But they can score goals. They just don't seem to be doing it at the minute. I'm a little bit worried that Lincoln City got Joe Garner off red carded on 86 minutes in the last game. So we're going to be... I just can't see Leyton Orient's train being derailed. What do you think? 2-0, 3-1, 2-0. I think that... I think this could be 1-1. I think Lincoln could, because the last 2 games 1-1 for Lincoln, I can just see that creeping on and a turn just starting to improve. They must be able to improve that squad back and turn this poor run back. You don't usually get it all the way through to the end of the season. It usually is a gap. And I can see Lincoln starting to improve. So it could be a 1-1, but I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to think that Lincoln City are going to improve this. But today, I don't know. In soon, I think yes. I think they could soon be starting to come back up that table. Orient in 7th, Lincoln in 12th. I'm going to go with, looking at your scores, I'm going to go with Orient 1, Lincoln 0. And we're going to go on to my team. It's Reading versus Rotherham United. And where do we think this? Because Rotherham have been playing pretty poorly. There's been some hints in the news that Reading can't put out a strong first team fully. I don't know how true that is. Some news story, whether it's false news, I don't know, said that they only had 11 good first team players to put out. Don't know if that's true. Please do comment about that. I'd love to know if it's a false news story or not. A fake news, isn't it? Yeah. Let's have a look at Reading. Lose, win, draw. They seem to be just picking up. That draw against Huddersfield 0-0 really was pretty good. I was quite. I really did look at the stats and look at the game and thought, they're actually playing quite good, and they have been playing quite good. I mean, they went from quite near the bottom, didn't they? And rocketed up there. They're 9th. They're doing really well. And then of late, they just seem to have had a bit of a blip. But a lot of teams around that area have had a little blip. And look at Barnsley. And Rotherham, lose, win, lose, draw. They're pretty awful. I mean, being a Rotherham fan can hurt at the best of times. and unfortunately, I think that this is one of them. We're on the beach. Reading still have their eye on that bottom edge of the top 6. Can they make it? I think they can. I mean, how many points? Just to quickly have a look, they're in 9th on 46 points. They're only 3 points away from Huddersfield in 6th, and Huddersfield have been having a hit and miss period, haven't they? And it's that position that people are actually looking at now. So I'm sort of thinking, Reading doing well, not scoring that many. I don't see this being a high-scoring game. I really don't. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to follow you lot. 1-0 to Reading, 1-0 to Reading, 0-0. I think this could be a board draw, 0-0, and I really do think it could be a 0-0. But I'm going to go with the majority of you. Reading 1, Rotherham 0. And we'll move on to the game that most of you are actually looking for. And it is Birmingham versus Charlton. Probably the game of the week, which is why I put it here. Birmingham, draw, win, lose, win. But let's face it, the lose was against Newcastle. They've been winning everything that they can get hold of. The only game in the last 6 in League One, and the last 5 in League One, that they've managed not to win all 3 points is indeed Wrexham. And of course, they were a little bit depleted there. Well, they were quite a lot depleted, let's face it. However, how can you have a side of that value? It's got so much money in reserves that the reserve bench that if you have 6-7 people injured, I reckon they could still put out the team that can still beat 99% of that league. 1-1, they did really well against a Wrexham side. Similarly, they paid to be up there. They deserve to be up there. Great game. I really couldn't tell one from the other. I think 1-1 was probably the right score. But since then, and anywhere around it, they just seem to be able to wipe the floor with anybody. I did see the Shrewsbury game where Shrewsbury beat Birmingham, and again, Birmingham played really, really well. But on the whole, my note about Birmingham is that they seem to be winning by the odd goal. They don't seem to win. They don't seem to win by a large number. And I know what you're going to say. What about the Cambridge last time out, 4-0? Yeah, but when did we see a 4 or 5-0 before that? Not very often. And a team of this skill, and we know they've got the skill, should be able to flatten more teams in the bottom by more goals than just 4. More goals than 1 or 2. And I just seem to think that sometimes they sort of sit back a little bit and sort of wait for the game to unfold, and then they start chasing the game. And quite often they go behind like by 1 goal very early on, like they did against Rotherham. Go behind, and then they start playing, and they show the fact that they're just 10 times better at least, and win the game 2-1. Now, I can see Birmingham winning this, but we've got a Charlton on the up. Win. Draw against Blackpool. That's a blip, isn't it? And it was away, though. Stevenage win, and then a Peterborough win. This team does win, but they win, again, by 1 or 2 goals. And again, I'm thinking, these two teams, their last 6 games are showing that they're not far from each other. We've got a Birmingham team that is constantly good. We can't say that they're improving on the up or on the down, because they are they're constantly on the up. They're constantly as good as they can be. They occasionally have a blip, but not very often. And they're playing a Charlton team though that are on the up, and they are getting better and better. And they're starting to show this amazing technical quality that they showed when they played Rotherham at home and went 2-0 down. They drew 2-2. Their technical ability just shone in that second half. They were absolutely brilliant. And I actually find this really tough to score, which is one of the other reasons why I put it further down the list. Birmingham first, Charlton fifth, and Charlton are on the up. Where do we think? 2-1, 2-0, 2-1, 2-2. You know, I can actually see this being a really tough game. I think they will go at each other, and I think there's goals in this, and you can see by their history of how many goals they score. Each of them are equally capable of scoring, but each of them are equally capable of letting a goal in. So I'm going to go with one of you. I'm going to go with Birmingham 2, Charlton 2. Please, Charlton fans and Birmingham fans, stay on. Do finish the video, please do. Like and subscribe, and there'll be more. And we go on to the next game, which is Shrewsbury versus Bolton. And I can hear you all clicking off. Please don't click off, Birmingham fans. Stay on the line. We're going to go Shrewsbury Bolton, 21st versus 8th. And Shrewsbury are really doing quite well. Win, lose, win, draw. You know, they had a deserved win against Rotherham, and they played marginally better. They actually did deserve the win. Like I say, Rotherham played pretty poorly though, so it's an average side does look really good against a really poor side. And they've got Bolton, lose, win, lose, win, lose. They seem to be picking up now and starting to do a lot better. They got hit by Crawley's good period, didn't they? And then all of a sudden, in Crawley's poor period, Bolton managed to win the game 4-3. So it's going to be really, really interesting, this one. We know that Crawley that Crawley can do that. So Bolton did really well against them. So Bolton's game plan can be really, really good, and it can really work, especially lately. Shrewsbury's can be. Please tell me down below how you say it. They can pull out several very good games, can't they? Birmingham win, you know, wow. Well done. A Wrexham win as well, you know, Wrexham 2-1. Yeah, you have to think that this Shrewsbury side can do it, and they can get out of there if they produce some of those performances over that a little bit more consistently. They are at home. Wrexham win was at home, yeah. I don't know I can't remember where the Birmingham win was. Yeah, it's a side that can do this. They only lost against Charlton 1-0, and Charlton have been doing really technical football and really rocketing up the league. This is actually going to be harder than what we think, and a lot of people are saying this on the prediction videos. Shrewsbury 21st, Bolton 8th. What are people on their videos saying? 2-1, 2-2, 2-1. I'm going to go with most of you. Shrewsbury 2, Bolton 1. I think Shrewsbury are going to do this, I really do. Stevenage versus Peterborough next, and Stevenage are doing quite well of late. So let's see what we think of this game. So obviously we got Peterborough with a red card last time out against Charlton, defeat 2-1 away from home. What am I thinking? Stevenage 3-1 defeat away at Crawley. That actually is quite puzzling to me, because obviously that's a midweek. Didn't quite see every game there all the way through, so didn't see that one. Didn't see it coming either. It's a game where, again, it depends where Crawley play really, really excellently. Usually in the first half, and then they try and sit back, and I wonder if that's what they did. Win, lose for Stevenage, who are in 13th, but they've been doing really well of late, I think, and it's just been those last 3 games that just seems to have derailed their train. But up to that point, I think they were doing really well. Barnsley win 1-0, great. Away from home as well. Wrexham win 3-2 away from home. And an Exeter win 4-1 at home. You have to think that they have been playing really, really well. And then all of a sudden, lose. Okay, one's against Birmingham, and we can forgive them for that. And the next one, Charlton, we can forgive them for that, because Charlton are doing really, really well. They're on a real rocket up the table. So that's why I say Stevenage have been playing really well. We can forgive them for 2 out of those last 3 defeats. However, it seems to have changed their mindset, and their mindset looks like it's just on a downer, which is really a real shame, because 3 wins and then 2 defeats against 2 top teams is nothing bad. It really isn't. It's really good. And they certainly didn't get trounced. 1-0 defeat against Birmingham, 2-0 defeat against Charlton is not a bad result, guys. You should be happy that you didn't get trounced 4 or 5-0. So the Crawley one came out of the blue for me. Peterborough, draw, lose, win, lose, win, lose. It seems to be all over the place. Plus they've got a red card. I just can't see. I can't see where to go here, because I can see where people are predicting. You're predicting 2-1 win to Stevenage, 2-0, 2-0. You're all going Stevenage, but Peterborough are 2 up and down. I know they've got a red card in there, but I just think that we could see the odd Peterborough good performance here. I'm going to go totally against people. I'm going to go, what do you say, 2-1, 2-0, 2-0. I'm going to go Stevenage 2, Peterborough 2. And we'll quickly move on to Stevenage Stockport for the last game. Now, Stevenage Stockport is Wigan Stockport. Why am I thinking Stevenage? Wigan Stockport for the last game. Wigan 16th, Stockport in 4th, and we have to be thinking Stockport County, don't we? Wigan Athletic win, lose, draw, lose. Slightly gone off the boil at Wigan, and I really thought that their good period would extend a little bit longer than it did. Stockport County, win, draw. Wow, Stockport are running up, aren't they? They did really well. Then they sort of dropped off and fell back a bit. Had a poor period. Usually lasts about 5, 6, 7 games, and it seems to have for Stockport. And they've suddenly started pulling back. 5 wins there in a row, and then Bristol Rovers last time out, midweek 1-1, and you have to be thinking that they are on and up. In fact, Bristol Rovers equalised in extra time there, so Stockport County really, up to the 90th minute were thinking that they were going to get away with a 6th win in a row there. But I think that this could be just a blip, and that Wigan will find it really tough in 16th place against a team on the up and in 4th. I didn't think that Stockport would have such a good run in at the end of the season. I thought that they might level out at about 10th, 9th, 10th or 9th position. They seem to be looking good for the top 6, don't they? And I think, what are you saying? 1-0 to Stockport, 2-1 to Stockport, 1-1. That's an interesting one. I'm going to go I'm going to go Wigan 1, Stockport 2. Please like and subscribe, because I do need them. If you don't like what I say, please don't dislike. Do give me a comment down below. We are getting more and more, and I do thank you for that. It's John S. Sports Channel, over and out. Please like and subscribe and share. Thank you very much.